Rupa.
Harish Manwani, the chairman of HUL in 2012, had rightly said, rural India is a powerhouse and presents an incredible opportunity. By 2025, the Indian rural market is expected to become a $100 billion opportunity for retail spending. Of course, there are the challenges in agriculture, rural employment, employability, and human development to be handled. The significant point is there is an incredible opportunity in the Indian rural market. But for succeeding in the rural market, we need a good go-to-market strategy. Good evening to all the respected faculty members present in this virtual platform. I, Aheli Roy, along with my team members Sheikh Arshad Ali, Nirman Pal, Syed Fawad Ahmed, and Joita Sinha Roy, are here to present to you the synopsis of our project, through which we have aimed to study the post-COVID scenario of rural market in India and also suggest some good go-to-market strategy. Today, everyone is talking about the impact of COVID-19, but only from a national perspective or urban-centric perspective. Unfortunately, not much has been spoken about the impact of COVID-19 on the rural sector, which constitutes a large part of the economy and overall consumption across product categories in the country. For the record, as per a United Nations report published in 2019, 70% of India's population resides in rural areas. In this introductory part, I would be covering some of the few insights. First of all, what do we understand by rural market? Rural marketing is a very wide term. It is a process of identifying the needs and wants of customer and accordingly designing the 4 Ps to meet the specific requirement of the rural customers. As we already know that 70% of the India's population is living in the rural area and there is a huge scope which is still untapped by the market here. Through this project, we want to portray rural market and their impact on the FMCG products as they are the products used in our daily life by critically examining and current status of the Indian rural marketing. We will also analyze the problems prevailing in the rural marketing sector in general. Now, I shall try to express our thinking about why we chose this topic. For this, we need to know that why the rural market is highly attractive to the corporates. First of all, rural demand grows faster than the urban for many products. Excluding the rural market is no more an option to the corporates. It will keep them out of more than half of the country's total market. The urban-rural gap in per capita income and consumption will keep narrowing, and the larger side of the rural population will fetch them a bigger market in the long run. India's per capita GDP in rural regions is growing at a CAGR, that is compound annual growth rate of 6.2% since 2000. Now let me highlight some of the importances of FMCG sector to understand why we are focusing on this sector. The Indian FMCG industry generates massive employment opportunities and currently employs more than 3 million people. The FMCG, that is fast-moving consumer goods companies, have faced tough competition among themselves over the years, which is still continuing and increasing. The FMCG sector has changed its strategies and has opted for a more well-planned marketing for the products to penetrate both the rural and urban markets. Marketing, retail, sales, services, and supply are the key areas which generates maximum career scopes in FMCG industry in India. This sector in the Indian rural market is one of the most booming sectors in Indian economy. Now, I would like to request my teammate Arshad to highlight the objectives. Over to you, Arshad.
Thank you, Ali. Now, we'll discuss about our objectives. So our objectives include, firstly, to identify the major problems in tapping the rural market. As we all know, a number of corporates have been trying to get grip on the rural market in a variety of ways. There is no doubt that rural market reveals opportunities and great attraction to marketers. But it's not as easy as it seems on surface. It's not so simple to enter and succeed in this market in a smooth way. This market poses a variety of challenges, and therefore the marketer has to work hard to tackle these challenges strategically. A company planning to enter or expand in rural market must consider these problems seriously. Some of the genuine problems associated with rural market includes lack of communication facilities, wide and scattered market, seasonal and irregular demand, language barrier, and low per capita income. Secondly, to identify the potential of FMCG products in rural market of India. The coronavirus induced lockdown is expected to sharpen the demand pattern of FMCG products in rural areas. There is an increased demand of FMCG products in rural India. The rural FMCG market in India is expected to grow to $220 billion by 2025 from $23 billion in financial year 18. Consumers in big cities opting more for large size product packs, while in smaller towns and villages, value packs rules the market. FMCG companies like Nestle, Dabur and Parle are giving more emphasis on manufacturing price affordable packs to go up in rural market. After that, we will analyze the consumer behavior in the rural areas. Consumer behavior analysis is the study of how people make purchase decisions regarding a product, service, or organization. Studying consumer behavior will allow us to answer several questions, such as how consumers choose between the alternatives, how marketing campaigns can be improved to more effectively influence customer behavior. And lastly, we will analyze the pre-COVID and post-COVID scenario of rural market in India. From here, Nirman will take the lead. Over to you, Nirman.
Thank you, Arshad. So, I will be discussing the research methodology of our project. But before I do so, we must know what is research methodology. Research methodology simply refers to the practical how of any given piece of research. More specifically, it's about how a researcher systematically designs a study to ensure valid and reliable results that address the research aims and objectives. For example, what data to collect, who to collect it from, how to collect it, and how to analyze it. For our project, we will be using comparative study. So, what is comparative study? Comparative research, simply put, is the act of comparing two or more things with a view to discovering something about one or all of the things being compared. This technique often utilizes multiple disciplines in one study. And why we chose it? The general method of comparing things is the same for comparative research as it is in our everyday practice of comparison. Like cases are treated alike and different cases are treated differently. The extent of difference determines how differently cases are to be treated. As we are comparing the markets before and after the COVID era, the comparative study will give us a better insight of it. We are conducting the study on the rural population of West Bengal, and our sample size is 100, out of which 70 are consumers and 30 are shopkeepers. We chose simple random sampling as our sampling method for this project. A simple random sampling is defined as a sampling technique where every item in the population has an even chance and likelihood of being selected in the sample. We will choose the survey participants randomly out of the rural population. And for the data collection, we chose questionnaire method, which will be based on Google Forms. And to analyze this data, we will use SPSS and the statistical tools of MS Excel. Why SPSS? Because SPSS statistics is a software package used for logical batch and non-batch statistical analysis. This software is one of the most popular statistical packages which can perform highly complex data manipulation and analysis with simple instructions and can take data from almost any type of file and use them to generate reports. So next, Fuad will continue with the expected outcome of our project. Over to you, Fuad.
Thank you, Nirman. After having discussed about our objectives and research methodology, We hope that we can reach to certain outcomes through this project. Let us discuss some of the outcomes we look up to achieve. Firstly, we expect to identify the taste and preference of the consumer. We shall try to identify the taste and preference of the consumer in rural areas because consumer preference determines what product people will buy within their budget. Understanding consumer preference will give us an indication of consumer demand. This information will help to ensure that we have enough product to meet demand and will also help us to determine the price that people can afford to buy at. Next, we hope that we are able to identify the action and reaction of the potential buyers in rural areas. It is a post-purchase behavior when the customer assesses whether he is satisfied or dissatisfied with the purchase. How the customer feels about a purchase will significantly influence whether he will purchase a product again or consider other products within the brand repertoire. A customer will also be able to influence the purchase decision of others because he will likely feel compelled to share his feeling about the purchase. Last but not the least, we aim to identify the major problems in the rural market and implement steps by which we can overcome those. The problem faced in rural marketing are continuing in spite of effort made in 9th five-year plan through many schemes framed by central government, respective state government and NGOs of national and regional repute. The major reason for slow improvement is the vastness and expanding markets. Framing and implementing best strategies which can address majority of the problem is the need of an hour. Joyita will now conclude by highlighting some of the driving factors behind our project topics.
Before we conclude our synopsis, I would like to portray the driving factors that we have kept in mind while deciding to work with this project topic. Increased population of working women, increased disposable income and growing per capita expenditure, increased purchasing power of the customers, increased awareness of online shopping, higher brand recognition and consciousness, constant change in consumer preference, banking policies and government's regulations, growing interest for foreign investors. Keeping all this in mind, an analysis of the consumer and shopkeeper will be done with the help of questionnaire to which the opinion the shopkeeper and consumer will be taken to get the practical insight. Through the study, we want to show that to achieve the objectives of the rural market development, the governments and private agencies have to focus on the improvement of all the problematic areas of rural marketing and should find proper scientific solutions to address the same. Efforts must be taken to regenerate the marketing of rural products. It would definitely help the myriad of rural entrepreneurs across India. Product awareness, campaigns and advertising communications do need to be designed and executed keeping in tune with the context. All the citizens must join hands together to promote the rural markets in India as India lives in rural societies. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for your time. Here are some of the references we have taken into consideration. We have tried to keep this synopsis project as simple as possible, hoping to keep up to your expectations during our final presentation. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you very much. It was a very nice presentation. Now I will ask Shomo and Renu to say something regarding this, regarding their presentation.
There is really a professional touch. I am really mesmerized with the way they have presented their project, and best of luck with the hope that we will going to get a definite quality project, and also for their hope that they will be successful in near future. Best of luck again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So as a group, you people have
Thank you, sir.
performed excellently, and it is like what you can say, awesome performance that we were expecting from you people, especially from your group, which is combining of Hooghly, Arshad, Nirman, Joyta, and Fuad. Right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I think, sir, now
Thank you, ma'am.
now they have presented the presentation with more confidence, right?
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
that presentation is
Yes,
very
ma'am.
nice.
Maybe
Very nice.
at that time this was the first group, so they were quite nervous, I think. But now I think they have presented the entire content of the presentation in a much more confident manner.
Yeah, right. You are right, ma'am. You're right. They are now much more confident. They have
Yeah.
shown. They have shown extreme. I mean, extreme performance. Very nice performance.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Very
sir.
nice performance.
But the performance that we expect from a BBA third year student, sir.
Exactly,
Basically.
and exactly another thing is that they have much developed when they have joined our college. They have joined the BBA course. If
Yes,
you
sir.
compare that time and now,
They have current situation. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Definitely, sir. They have groomed themselves. They have grown up, and they have become much more mature. I still remember the interaction, the
Actually,
first
ma'am,
interaction with Hooghly, Nirman, and all.
right.
actually, ma'am, they have shown their maturity through the project presentation.
Yes, sir.
It is really
Perfectly.
good.
Really nice. Nice effort. Very nice effort. Extreme effort. Thank you all for joining. Good night to everybody. Thanks all.
Sir. Thank you.
Good
Thank
night,
you,
Thank
sir.
you,
teachers.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good
Thank you.
night, ma'am.
Good night, ma'am. Good night, sir.
Acha,
Good night.
Avik sir and Somo sir.